Hi, I'm Casey from Retroactive Arcade, and today I'm going to talk to you about the Pandora's Box 6 game station. I know I'm a little late on this one. I got kind of caught up with doing reviews for all these as they were coming out, and it was getting to be quite a bit, and now there's so many reviews out there. Which one do you look at? Which one do you do? Which one do you go by? So in the end, we get a lot of questions and about the authenticity of these things. So I'm going to kind of go over all the options of this and how to tell the difference between something that's real and that's fake. There's a lot out there. You see them on, there's a lot of stuff obviously on YouTube. There's tons of stuff on Instagram. And there's tons of stuff on Facebook. You see these guys trying to sell these things, and they're trying to fire sell them and give you this big sale for sale price. Normally it's $500-600, and now we're dropping it down to $300 and blah 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 blah. Our prices are set. They are the way they are. The reason why is because they are all OEMs, so that means they're all original. They're all the proper ones that you're going to be looking for. There's no clones here. There's nothing like that. I'll tell you how to figure out what the difference between a clone and all that stuff is. One is the game board that's in it. It's got the manual that comes with this. It shows what the game board should look like on the inside. It's this kind of translucent green box for the Pandora's 6 version. The way it goes is it shows it in the back there. Now there's a couple of clones. Some of them are blue, some of them are green like this, some of them are yellow, some of them are just a JAMA board that's inside, and that JAMA board, if it has, it could be just a different version of the box that uses the JAMA board. If it's an orange board or pink board that's in there that says, if it says Pandora's Box 6 on it and it says HQ kind of thing, then you know that it's somewhat, that it's authentic, not that it's somewhat. Part of it has to do with the case. This is an all-metal case. The all-metal case is a big indication of whether it's going to be authentic or not. You can throw an authentic board that's like this inside, but then the game station itself is they just bought the board and made their own case for it, put it in so they could do it cheaper, especially the ones with the wood top on them. Technically, those are clones, even though the actual board is the actual board on some of them. The whole thing is set up as a clone, just finding ways to keep it cheaper. The reason for that is the fact that they can't make them fast enough. So then they start cutting corners where they can cut them out of wood instead of stamping them out of metal and painting them, powder coating them, doing all that kind of stuff like that. So then they sit there and say that's original because it's an original board that's in it, but the actual game station itself is a different quality. It's half metal, half wood. So you can tell the difference fairly quickly that way, but they still want full price of what the metal one would be. So that's kind of the difference that we're looking at here. You can see the ports on the back. You've got your HDMI, you've got your VGA, you've got your 3.5 millimeter out for sound for headphones, that type of a thing. You got your volume control here, which is nice and easy. You just get a feel for it, do that there. And you got your USB for your game list. Your game list is on here. In the end, technically it's editable. The thing is, you can't just download games and ROMs and stuff, throw them on there and go. These boards are kind of, I guess a quick history on them is, they basically run off of Android. So all the ROMs that are on there have been remastered and redone in an Android type of environment setup. So you can't just download the ROM and from, whatever MAME version, put it on there and expect that it's going to work, because it's not going to work. They use that Android type of OS on here so that they could kind of have their way of doing something proprietary to them, which it's hard to copy, that type of a thing. So they can, have the life of or longevity of their idea lasting as long as they can, because there's no such thing as a real copyright and stuff in China, and that's where these all come from, and they developed it themselves. So they're stealing from each other, and it just becomes this little bit of a nightmare / competition. So that's where all the clones are coming from. That's why all that stuff is happening. We go out of our way. We spend a lot of time. Our suppliers, they know exactly what we want, so we want the OEM version. We do pay a little bit more for it. We have to wait longer for it. Say, theoretically, if I ordered 100, they would only send me like 20 to 25 at a time, and they'd only send them every 2 to 4 weeks. So that's part of the reason for their price point, is because they're harder to get, they take longer to make, they're a higher quality. The parts that are in them kind of goes along the same lines. So The buttons and stuff, they're Sanwa clones. There's no doubt about it. All across the board, that's what they do. You got to keep the price point down. That's why. We sell actual Sanwa buttons, so you can upgrade it, or you can even buy the Sanwa buttons when you purchase one of these and ask us to actually swap them out. I'll have them swapped out. I'll send you the old buttons with it, and you can have the whole package, and we just kind of set it up and we'll redo it for you, send it out fully upgraded. These are clone JLF joysticks, but I will be honest, and as upfront as possible, these clone JLFs are very hard to tell the difference between the original JLF and these JLFs. Swapping it out with original JLF joysticks isn't gonna give you that much more. These are only arcade games. They're not like, you know, high-end Street Fighter, Tekken, whatever games. You're not in a competition. To have the actual JLF joysticks for their response rate is a little too fast for most of these arcade games that are on here anyway. So this is perfect for what you need. If you wanted to upgrade, I would highly recommend upgrading into the silent JLF joysticks if you want to go original, just because you can hear the clicking and it gets quite loud. If you go with the silent, that's where you're going to get your bang for your buck if you go into those ones. They're a little more expensive, but definitely well worth it. The buttons up top on the menus up here, some of these machines, I didn't mention anything about the USB ports on the back. You're probably wondering what those are. Some versions of these allow for these to be a controller setup so that you can plug in this thing without powering it on and using these joystick setups for an actual gamepad in PlayStation or Xbox. This version does not. It's not set up that way, but with the way they do their molds and the way they do their manufacturing and stuff, they set it up so they all look the same. These buttons are dead. They don't work. They don't work for anything on this version. But if you buy the other version, which is a special order from us, just because they're not very much, they're not popular because they're about $150 more just for that option. That's why we don't go that route. Try to keep it as cheap as possible, give you the best quality. Our warranty on these things is about 60 days, I believe. I've never really had to warranty anything other than maybe a button or a joystick nut, bolt, that type of a thing. We take them out of all the boxes. We test them all. We do all that stuff before we send them out. We don't just get them, send them off. We don't drop ship them. We don't do anything like that. We make sure that it comes into our store. We open them all up. We make sure all the parts are there. We go over the whole thing, which brings me to opening it up. So there's actually 3 of these little knobs on there that I'm taking off right now. I've taken off the other 2 for speed and simplicity of the video, and then you have full and easy access. As you can see, it's got the green box in there, the little sticker on there that says Pandora's Box 6. There's a little stamp right here. Yeah, it says H, and then Pandora's Box on there as well on the translucent. I don't know if you can see it on here, but basically those are little indications that it is an OEM board and that it is authentic. The fact that it's metal and that there's a lot of time and effort put into these ones, they've changed them over time. They constantly do that. So it is hard to tell, oh, did I get a clone? Did I not get a clone? But they've changed it now so that they have their own PCB in there. Their wiring setup is their own. And like I said, they kept it as simple as possible. So you can see how easy it is to swap out any of these parts. These clone JLFs are like literally as close to the originals as possible. So if you do pop this out and you want to change it later, the footprint of the new ones will fit exactly. This thing just this harness will just pop off. You just pop it back on and they'll work perfectly. You just plug and play pretty much everything with these. And then if there is ever any issue with this board, you should be able to swap it. Now, when they go into Pandora's Box 9, which is out, I'll talk a little bit about that when I do the actual demo of the game of these. The Pandora's Box 9 is glitchy as hell, and it's kind of it feels like a regression more than a progression, just because of the way the menu is and everything else. So I pretty much said everything I can really say about these. There's not much else. The only other thing I can tell you is quick little features. So it's got its own little speaker in there that if you didn't see when I had it open, it's just single speaker, so it can stand alone. It'll plug into any TV, monitor, whatever, that'll take either the VGA or the HDMI. It's got the rubber insulated feet on here, so when you're playing 2 players side by side on a coffee table or anything there, it's not going to move around too much. I find that if you just kind of give it a quick little lick and wet it a little bit, it won't move at all. So that they're really good that way. The LED feature on the top for your controls, you got pause, exit, all that stuff from here, so you can pause your game, go grab a drink, go to the bathroom, do whatever you got to do, go for a smoke, come back, hit your pause, keep playing, do whatever you want to do, so you can kind of keep going that way. Comes with your manual, comes with an HDMI cable. I believe this is a 20-footer, and then it comes with programmable, well, it's not really programmable, but it'll plug into your PlayStation, do whatever for your USB control. That's another 20-foot control. You got your plug for power. You got your adapter for power. It'll work in USA, North America, that type of a thing. For us, that's the ones we order in. And you got a 20-foot VGA cable, and it comes with a couple extra buttons. So there's a lot of little extras that it comes with. Like I said, you can upgrade the buttons or anything like that when you purchase that from us or anywhere else. Doesn't really matter. You can get the buttons just from us, whatever you like, or any other supplier. And they are just a quick pop out button, pop in the new one, good to go. Bob's your uncle, I guess you could say. Other than that, there's not much else I can show you about this. I'm going to move on and show you the actual menu and gameplay. Right on. Alright, so basically I'm just going to go through the way the menu works and give the quick little demo here. I'm not going to play any of the games and waste any of your time doing that. I'm just going to show you the way it works. The games are set up as close to the originals as possible. There's nothing else I can really say. There's on the OEMs and stuff, there's absolutely no lag, no issues there. Some of the gameplay might be a little different than you might remember, but you have full control of changing that, and I'll show you how that is all going to work here. I'm not actually going to change it, but I'll take you through the menu. So basically, as it sits right now with the Pandora's Box 6, better than the Xbox 5 or 5S Plus and all that good stuff, but the reason why it's so much better is obviously it's got more games. Those ones only had 1,000 games. This one has 1,300. It's also in alphabetical order. It's the first Pandora's Box that they've gone ahead and done that. For whatever reason, with the new Pandora's Box 9 that they've been teasing us with, that I've had the opportunity to test, for some reason they threw that out the window and it's no longer in alphabetical order. The cool thing with this is its menu. This is the whole reason why Pandora's Box 6 is cool at all, and better in many more ways. It's superior than any of the other ones. The reason for that is if I hit Start, I go into the menu, I can go into genre. So I have fighting, you have action, shooting, sports, puzzle. Now you can't change that, that's just the way they're categorized, but at least there's something there for quick reference. Other than that, you can go into alphabetical. So I can go A, B, C, D, blah, blah, blah. I can go all the way down to M. Say I want to look for Mortal Kombat, I go to M, I hit OK. Now it's taking me straight to the top of M. I can just go down and go to Mortal Kombat as fast as I want. One up and down, boom, 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 hit OK. Hit enter. It's gonna lay out for me. It'll take a minute or two, depending on the game. Some take a little longer to load than others. This one will probably take it on the longer side of things, just because Mortal Kombat's a larger game. So as you can see, it comes up. You put in your credits, do your thing, whatever. Now it's also got this function, which is really great. So it's pause/exit. So as soon as you press it, it pauses your situation. So if you want to get out of it, you hit continue or exit. So to continue, it'll keep loading, it'll do its thing, everything's all good. Or hit it again, go to exit, hit my enter button, and now it's going to take me back to the main menu. It's as simple as that. There's nothing else to worry about, look at, or do. I mean, you've got your genres set out on the side there, so you know whether it's a puzzle, fighting, flying, or whatever game. Then you're ready to rock. Other than that, these controls up here that I said don't necessarily work for this setup, but they do. There is some extra buttons up here for that start, pause, delay, that type of a thing. The main menu, when you go in to make any of those changes that I was talking about, there's a little black button on the back beside the volume knob, in between the volume and the USB stick that's in there. You press that, it's going to take you right into the back menu. So with that back menu, I have the volume turned down because it's kind of annoying, but I can turn it up just a little bit here to see if you can kind of see the onboard sound. It's not coming through the monitor, but if you use HDMI and stuff, it'll actually go through your TV, stereo, whatever you want. So you've got your I/O test, which if you go in there, then it'll tell you what your buttons are mapped out to be. It tells you they're all working, so you can test your setup whenever you want. And I think it's Then you just press start and your button to get out. You can make custom button settings, so you can go into a custom layout. So if you don't like the layout that's in here, you can change it. That's always good too. I'm just going back into the menu, and always makes you save. System config, you can go in there. You can change it from free play to credits that are entered. You can change your pause menu to off so you can't pause. You can do all these little things. Edit game mode, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty simple stuff. And where is it? Just D. There we go, back. So game settings. So when you go into game setting, you can actually go into each game and you can change your layout, your custom buttons, your settings. You can add, extra lives, difficulty settings, all those things. What they're referred to in the in the old days is dip switch settings. So these are just virtual dip switch settings for your arcade games. So let's just go back. Come on. Okay, and then bookkeeping, it just tells you how many games it played, tells you how many credits been put in, that type of thing. Inside speaker on, that's the onboard speaker. You can turn it on, you can turn it off. So it shows you how you have all that, a lot of options there. English, you can change it to Chinese, I think it's French, and one other one in there. And then basically you can restore it back to factory settings. So if you made a bunch of changes and you didn't like them, that type of a thing, you're going to sell it to a buddy, do whatever it is, you go back to your factory settings and you reboot. To get out of this menu, the only way to do it is save settings and reboot. You hit OK, hit yes, it'll reboot and go through its whole procedure. Other than that, there's not much else. Hit power, and then I basically reboot and she's good to go. It's going to take about 20 seconds, 30 seconds to boot up again. So we're not going to wait for that whole thing. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything else, feel free to ask them on our YouTube channel. Or you can call us directly, or you can just email us through our website at www.retroactivearcade.ca. Thanks for hanging out with us.